Peter Chang here, and we're going to install the motor, and we're also going to use a Losi 48 pitch pinion gear with 27 teeth in there. And while it sounds kind of like heresy installing like a Losi component into a X Factory based team associated car, the Losi pinion was the only one that I could find with the gear ratio that I wanted, which is 27T. So essentially, gears are gears, and what I'm really after is just trying to attain this final drive ratio. So the final drive ratio I had in mind was 27T, and eventually I'll explain why I went with this one. But essentially, I chose the Team Epic D3 motor because it's reasonably priced. It gets good reviews. Recently, also they've launched like a new set of motors, so the D3 motors were a bit cheaper as well. There's various price breaks that you could attain at local hobby stores, which makes it a good deal. Also, it's just they have great distribution, so you could find them just about anywhere. And also a lot of online stores and shops carry Team Epic motors as well too. One thing you're going to notice with the Team Epic motor is that it doesn't come with any gear pinions at all, so you're going to have to get your own gear pinions. Thankfully, when you buy a gear pinion, it does come with like a little gear pinion tool, the screw and the tool for you to put it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. And you need to be just relatively careful with this because it's just kind of tiny and small. It falls down quite a bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick this up again here. And it's just kind of frustrating because it's such a small part. Also, I highly recommend picking up a screw, a hex screw for this as well. So I need to either pick up a Weehaw or a hoodie screw for this, so I don't have to use the one that's supplied with it. You could use it if you don't have any tooling for that. So for me, I'm still kind of relying on this tooling, but in the future this might be one of the screws I pick up because I'm not digging that tool. So when you put it in, just make sure you get the flat side in there. You're screwing it on the flat side, so you just go ahead and just adjust as needed. Essentially, when you're running like a larger pinion gear, you need to make room so that when you mount the motor, everything goes in nicely. And it looks like it's going to be pretty cool. And I'm really digging this skull design of the Team Epic D3 motor here. Alright, let's go ahead and mount this in. You notice now I've taken this off so I could actually mount it in. But I just want to show you what it looked like when you are mounting it in the pinion gear. So one trick is to put in both screws and then not quite tighten the motor, but just to figure out where you could actually put the motor on here. So it just comes down to just a little bit of patience and just a little care with installing the motor. Also, another note for you to know is that when you're testing out and running the motor, you should have a temperature gun. So you can make sure and check that your motor isn't necessarily overheating. And just after a few runs, just stop your RC car and just check the motor temperature. Every motor has a set of guidelines to it, and you don't want to run hotter than the predetermined guidelines of your motor. And pretty much it also depends on where you live too. So you might need to change the gearing if you kind of live in a place that has a hotter climate or hotter summers. I live in the Midwest, so pretty much it's freezing here all the time. So we could generally run a little hotter because it's the ambient temperature outside is pretty cold. So now I'm going ahead and install the pinion gear, and you don't need to see me install the smaller gear in there because I showed that to you earlier. But here's the trick: you just kind of push everything in, and then once you get everything in there, you start tightening up. So I'm just going to loosen this screw and push everything a little closer to the main spur here, then come back and tighten everything up. Pretty much this would be how you would mount the spur and pinion gears in the molder. Thanks for watching, and remember, everything matters.